Good afternoon everyone, my name is Bảo Lâm. I'm from class Pilot 2H and today I'll be debating about the motion of eating vegetarian diets, save the earth, and I'll be in the affirmative side.
Good afternoon everybody, my name is Phúc Lâm. Today I'm going to be having a debate with Bảo Lâm on the motion of giving into the vegetarian diet to protect the earth. I am on the negative side and Bảo Lâm is on the affirmative side.
For the motion, I believe that we should switch to a vegetarian diet to save our earth. Okay, so first, let me define what a vegetarian diet is. It's simple. You stop eating meat, chicken, and fish. Instead, eat mainly plants like fruits, vegetables, grains, beans, nuts, seeds, and mushrooms. So let me get to the main topic. Why is this important for the earth? First, let's talk about climate change reduction when eating vegetarian diet. Raising animals for meat creates strong gases that warm our planet like methane and nitrous oxide. For instance, major studies show that producing just 1 kilogram of beef releases about 60 kilograms of these damaging gases. Eating less meat means much less of this pollution because only 1 kilogram of peas releases only 1 kilogram of CO2 equivalents. Second, raising animals takes up a huge amount of land. Almost half of Earth's usable land is used for farming, and much of that is for animal or their food. This often leads to cutting down forests, which harm wildlife and make climate change worse. Okay, so forest is the main producer for vegetarian-based foods and diets. So a key study found we could potentially cut down the land needed for farming by 75% if people ate plant-based diets. Think about the land that could return to nature and making them heal. Third, water could be saved when eating plant-based diets. Meat production uses massive amount of water. Research shows it takes over 15,000 liters of water to make just 1 kilogram of beef, and 1 kilogram of peas use only 322 liters of water. That's a huge difference. Vegetarians save an incredible amount of water. And finally, pollution might be reduced when eating vegetables. Waste from animal farms pollutes our rivers and lakes. Fertilizers used to grow animal feed also pollute the land and water. Less meat simply means less pollution. So, switching to a vegetarian diet saves our earth.
Personally, I do not agree with the motion that we should change into vegetarian diets. Mostly because the fact that only around 80 million people are vegetarians. And if all 8 billion people switch to vegetarians, then the population of plants would go down rapidly, increasing the amount of CO2 and decreasing the amount of oxygen in the air. A vegan diet might be good for the earth, but not for human bodies. A diet consisting of only vegetables can have many side effects, including leaky gut, vitamin B12 deficiency, osteoporosis, and lacking nutrients such as calcium, omega-3, fatty acids, and proteins. The phenomenon leaky gut happens when there are too many anti-nutrients in a vegetable such as legumes, which include phytates and lectin. A vegetable diet also lacks vitamin B12, leading to vitamin B12 deficiency, which can cause neural or physical diseases such as osteoporosis and a higher risk of fractures. Osteoporosis is a systematic skeletal disorder characterized by low bone mass, microarchitectural deterioration of bone tissue, leading to more porous bone and consequent increase in fracture risk, being the most common reason for a broken bone among the elderly. Nutritional deficiencies can cause a lot of problems, including dryness and skin irritation, depression, dry eyes, arthralgia, etc. Secondly, it is also not good for the economic is also not good for the economic world. Because supermarkets, malls, and shops mostly sell meat and not vegetables. If humans all switch to a vegetarian diet, the economic state would go severely down because all the shops would close and they would mostly sell vegetables in a large shop and not in road shops everywhere. Overall, being a vegetarian may be good for the earth, but we shouldn't all turn into vegetarians due to the catastrophic issues that it can cause on the economic world and also the atmosphere.
My opponent has raised several points suggesting that eating a vegetarian diet lacks nutrition and cause diseases. So he listed many diseases, and it is also a harm to economy, but I think that isn't persuasive. So from a study in people in the National Library of Medicine from the USA, in comparison with non-vegetarians, vegetarians have a 24% reduction mortality from ischemic heart disease, and also vegetarians are 22% less likely to develop colorectal cancers. This is a sentence said from Dr. Mark Reeves. He had said that a vegetarian diet is a lacking nutrition, and he said that it's a lacking of proteins, but you know, beans have proteins, and regarding nutrient completeness is a common one, but it's simply not a barrier to a healthy vegetarian diet. Protein, iron, calcium, and other essential nutrients are already available in plant-based sources like nuts, seeds, grains, fruits, vegetables, and even in mushrooms. Vitamin B12 is the only nutrient that requires supplementation of fortified foods in the vegan diet, but this is a simple and widely accessible solution. Millions of healthy vegetarians and vegans around the world demonstrate that these diets are nutritionally adequate at all stages of life. In economy, although the rates of economy will drop if meat stopped to be bought, but if animals haven't been killed, the ecosystem will be better and there'll be more animals in the ecosystem. And guess what? People will be curious and will pay to travel there and to watch the animals, to visit and to discover the earth, making money. So yeah, economy comes in many ways.
The proponent said something along the lines of, if we change to vegetarian diets, the problem of climate change will slowly fix itself. But if we all change to vegetarian diets, farmers will need to plant more crops and other types of plants. And more crops means more land. And if we need more land, then we need to cut down more forests, meaning that it doesn't actually solve the problem with climate change. And plant-based products also plant-based and other products also contribute to climate change. The proponent also said earlier that a kilogram of plant is only the equivalent to a kilogram of carbon. But if crops need land, as I stated earlier, and if there's less trees, then that means there's less photosynthesis, meaning that the amount of CO2 rises and the amount of oxygen declines. He also stated earlier that if we stopped eating meat and started eating vegetarian diets, 75% of the land would be restored. 75% of the land that's already cut down would be restored. But things like bread, wheat need farmland to make bread. The proponent also stated that meat takes more water than plants to produce and make into products, but crops also need water to grow, and it takes a span of a few years to grow crops. The proponent also said that people will likely go pay to see animals, and that is already happening in today's time with zoos. The proponent stated that some vegetables and other things in the vegetarian diet include necessary nutrients for the body, but there are also some nutrients that are lacking or harder to obtain in non-meat diets, including proteins, iron, zinc, calcium, vitamin D3, and fatty acids found in oily fish, aka DHA and EPA. Also, vegetarian in any of its forms, specifically veganism, has been associated with adverse health outcomes, nervous, skeletal, and immune system impairments, hematological disorders, as well as mental health problems due to the potential for micro and macronutrient deficits, which may cause serious diseases like goiter, mental retardation, acute respiratory infections, decreased cognitive function, vision loss, rickets, and pellagra. That is why I stand with my disagreement on the movement that we should all convert into a vegetarian diet.
So to sum up, following a vegetarian diet is great for the earth because it helps reduce climate change, it releases more land for nature to heal, and it is a way to preserve the water, which is becoming scarcer. And changing diets can be a challenge, but the science is clear. Eating vegetables has a big impact on our environment. Choosing vegetarian meals is a powerful way many of us can make a real difference for our planet. Thank you.
Overall, being vegan sometimes renders our ability to stay healthy completely useless, but we don't need to convert to a vegan diet to protect Earth. Scientists have found a way to create two animals from one egg using a process that mimics parthenogenesis, where an embryo develops from an egg without fertilization by sperm. We can also use less meat in meals and do less barbecue parties to reduce the amount of meat needed below the average of 224.6 pounds a year. Down to just 220 pounds is already an achievement. I strongly believe that we do not need to change to vegetarian diets just to protect the earth, due to the reasons that they can bring a lot of harm to the economic state of the world, the atmosphere, and the well-being of us humans. Thank you for listening to this debate.